All right, and welcome on back to the Split Screen Experience, episode 9, for the first time on both YouTube and Spotify simultaneously. I am joined by my talented co-host.
Harmon, and I think we got a pretty good episode for you guys today. As always have good episodes. Not just today, but always. So, before we get into the topics I have, you have, what games have you been playing? Anything new? Or just kind of been playing the same old, same old?
It's been mostly same old, same old. I will say I definitely have been putting some more time into some older games lately that I never really gave the time of day, or I'm going back and revisiting games that I've not played in a long time. Like in my free time, I've been replaying Halo Combat Evolved, and definitely appreciating how much that franchise has evolved for the most part over time. But what about yourself? What have you been up to?
I've also been playing Halo, just playing multiplayer mainly. I'm trying to get back into just being good at Halo because, man, playing Slayer on Halo 2 or Halo 3 really shows how much more time people have put in the game than me. And I think I've put a lot of time in this game. But yeah, it's pretty much just been Halo. Occasionally, I have been playing NBA 2K because I got added to Xbox Game Pass, and I will play the game if it's on Game Pass. But if it's not, I will not spend the money on it.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. I feel like most sports games at this point are better if you can get them through a subscription like that compared to outright buying any of them.
That was my thought process with it.
Speaking of
So with
sports games, oh, go ahead.
oh no, you go ahead.
I was say, speaking of sports games, though, I am very excited about we're finally getting college football again, allegedly this year. I hope that's still true. I would like it because I really enjoyed NCAA growing up, but I'm not a big Madden fan. I just feel like there was something special about the college ball, but I will definitely be picking that up.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of playing football games. I played college football, the game, not in real life,
Mm.
uh, with my dad a couple times when I was younger. I'm
Right.
pretty sure he would always let me win because I didn't know what I was doing. But I'll probably pick it up because from what it sounds like, a couple of my friends are gonna also be picking it up, so we can play some football against each other, and I will probably lose because I'm not good at sports games.
Don't worry, they run the ball for you.
I wish that were the case.
And it's shaping up to be pretty good. I'm hoping that they've kind of evolved the formula a little bit in their, gosh, I don't even remember how many years absence. Um, but I hope it comes back stronger than ever and kind of rivals Madden because I feel like a lot of people will recognize that Madden and FIFA and all these games for the most part haven't played all of them recently, but for the last handful of years have sucked for those fans. So hopefully this can kind of come out and show that sports games can be relevant. Not to say that like they're ever going to be like game of the year. I would never want to see any sports game as the game of the year. Let me put that out there now, but they can still be a part of the gaming ecosystem in a modern landscape.
Right, and I think the sports games need to stop with the yearly release
Yes,
because it's the same game just with updated rosters
correct. The
with
visuals never improve.
with some features that people seem to love taken away.
That's true.
That tends to be what I see.
Yeah, I know we've had that conversation where I've said a couple times, like, I wish those games should realistically be on like a 3-year cycle, and each year either as like a free update or just like a small, like I'm talking a very small, like $5 DLC. They would have an updated year where you could click, like if it came out this year, you'd have the 2024 roster, then you'd have an update for 2025 and then 2026, and you could pick each year and play games in that year with those updated lineups instead of buying a whole new title every single one of those years, which yeah, is just that guy got traded to the Dolphins, that guy's now on the Ravens, that kind of behavior.
Yeah, sports games have definitely been in decline in recent year, but they still see people still buy them every year.
religiously. It's like people buying every Call of Duty.
That used to mean something.
Right. It's, I think it just became part of people's habits. For me, for a long time, it was that October, November season came around. I knew I was going to be picking up a new Call of Duty because for the better part of a decade, I bought every single COD or bought or received every single Call of Duty that came out up until recently, where I've not bought the last two, and I'm probably not buying the next one unless they really sell me with a trailer.
I think I can agree on that one. But enough rambling. Let's get into one of these topics that I have picked out. So
Land
I'm
on me.
sure, as you've seen, the pretty awful launch that was the Star Wars Classic Collection. Uh, servers aren't really working. There's no cross-platform, which I'm not too upset about the no cross-platform. It's on Xbox at least. It's 57 gigabytes, and it costs, was it $40?
Like 35, something like that, yeah.
I was gonna buy the game. I'm gonna be 100%. I was gonna buy the game, but I wanted to wait a week to see what people were saying. And man, am I glad I haven't so far, because if the servers weren't working, what's the point about playing it? I could go play the classic version I have on my Xbox right now.
It's not even just that servers weren't working. It's when you booted up the game. So I'll give you a stat right now. On PC alone, there were 10,000 players waiting at the gate to get in, like outside of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, to see on the other side that there were only enough servers to hold 200 players for officials. Everything else was a local or a hosted server, meaning you don't really know where you're connecting to. You're just looking based off ping in a server browser, which in today's day and age, we shouldn't see server browsers look as clunky as that one does. I know it's a remaster of an old game, but it's still coming out in this year. At least the UI should be a modern one. But they didn't support the game, and then I think it's over 40%, over 30%, somewhere in that range, refunded the game on Steam already.
I did see that statistic, and because then I saw the person who posted the video that I saw it from was like, "You're gonna need to earn their trust again if they're gonna buy this game again."
Right. Yeah, they can't come back. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, it's one thing to say, yeah, we'll start turning on more servers. We underestimated how many people were going to play it, which I can tell you right now, there were more than, like a good amount more than 200 people who pre-ordered the game. Therefore, they should have anticipated to see much more than that needed for an official server list. So they completely dropped the ball on that front. And by this point, they can't even just update the game to fix it because, yeah, people probably aren't going to come back. We're just going to play Battlefront 2 from 2017. Is it perfect? No. Does it work for the most part? Yeah. I mean, it's a travesty.
And we thought this game was gonna be the Battlefront 2 that killed the new Battlefront 2.
Correct.
You know, we gotta stop saying that about games, because we thought Halo Infinite was going to kill COD and Battle. Same with Battlefield 2042, and both those games underperformed at launch.
Yeah.
While both are better now, the damage has been done initially.
Yeah, I stand by. Like, I can't just. I don't know what happened with 2042. I don't know where the major formula changes that they tried to implement there. I don't know where those came from. The whole like idea of doing like operators now, or whatever that they call them, specialists or something. Um, that was weird. The whole attachment thing on that front was weird. So they failed, and then Infinite. I think the free to play thing killed them. I think Halo should have just cost $60. And been on pass obviously, but
Yeah, I can agree with that.
it's unfortunate we're seeing a bunch of games come out that should have a space to thrive and overcome and dominate other games, and they consistently are not doing that now. We're seeing a increasing trend of, while we are finally starting to get some good games again, we're getting some stinkers, or they start off so rough because that's been the trend. Launch a game in a horrible state and fix it over time. We've been seeing that also on the rise. So who knows what's going to look like? I mean, next year, 3 years from now for gaming.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what gaming's kind of gone to, where game studios have had the chance to take the lead against their competitor, and then they've just been like, "Oh yeah, everyone's gonna support us. All right, yeah, we don't have to try as hard now,
Right.
because we know people will support us," and then drop the ball.
It's almost like when you see, because a bunch of the studios have been doing this, but like where they'll go from the team that brought you this game from 20 years ago, this game from 15 ago, and you're like, oh, I loved those games, therefore this new game must be good. It's like when you see like a trailer for a movie, and it's like from the guys who brought you Avengers Endgame. That doesn't mean that inherently they're going to tell another good movie in a completely different genre. Doesn't mean they can't, but they're just like riding the coattails of past success to warrant future profit. And that's all these studios do now. It's like, oh, remember this game? I remember. You know, it's some of these studios used to be titans in the industry, like Ubisoft, and look what they've become.
The meme for bad servers.
Mm-hmm. Bad servers, projects that no one really asked for, um, like Skull and Bones, which was asked for, but not that. Like a fully fledged pirate game following the success of Black Flag did make sense. It shouldn't have taken 10 years, and you pumped out what is effectively a mobile game port. And then what was their other one I wanted to talk about there? Rainbow Six Extraction. Don't know who wanted that. It was like, they're like, oh, good.
I said, what I was going to say is it should have just been a game mode on Siege.
Yes.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that would have done leagues for them to just either implement it as like a free update for that, or maybe like a slight paid DLC, like, oh, it's like $20 and you have access to this new mode where you can use all your same cosmetics, that kind of deal. And it's just a new thing you can do with friends, a new PvE experience. And they didn't do that, and they sold it for, I think, at least largely full price. It might have been $40 instead of 60, but it was, effectively a full price game. And they cut support for it within like a year.
Yeah, about that.
It's like, oh, that's cool. So what? There's like 6 missions because they did. I remember the breakdown was like they made 3 big maps or so, and then chopped them up into like 30 pieces. Because I know one of them's a zoo. I think one of them might be an airport. I know one's definitely a zoo though, but I want to say one's like an airport, like a shipyard, something like that. There's like cargo. I saw the picture during the promotional stuff, and I just, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm sure there was a small portion of the community, that are like, oh, that sounds cool, because I think the inspiration for that was um their Halloween mode that they did a couple years ago, well, more than a couple now, which was fun, but I don't think it warranted a full game standalone release.
I can agree with that. I hope this little stint of games not delivering kind of goes away quickly. We start getting games that we were promised,
Right.
and like the level of game that these developers should be producing.
Yeah, it's weird because like when you look at like last gen, how much more powerful all these studios seem to be using way less powerful hardware. I mean, like the 360 compared to the Xbox Series X is a huge technological jump. I mean, 2 generations should be, but like it's a massive divide. And it seems like on the other side of that, we're getting worse performance. It doesn't look like a game that came out this year versus on 360. I feel like I was consistently saying for at least a time there, I can't believe this is running on this machine. Like when Skyrim came out, that pushed the bounds of what I understood was possible on that piece of junk, that hunk of plastic in our room. Because that for a while there, I was like, oh, like it was a big jump when it came out, and then there were a couple of games that just seemed like kind of like, yeah, this is about as good as it's gonna get, and then they continued to kind of push that envelope, and I was like, holy cow! And I have not said that about any game lately.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope this is kind of a wake up call. Or this has been a wake up call because it's been going on for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of understand that with everyone having social media now compared to back then, people will review bomb. People will outrage against these developers.
And not to mention, one big factor in this that I think will actually make them shape up directly, not that, like, obviously what you said with the whole social media, the court of public opinion is stronger than ever, and that will absolutely tarnish their PR, which will hurt them a little bit. The way you can directly hurt them, though, if you're buying games, especially digitally now, where I think all platform, I think Sony might still be kind of holding out on this one, but on Steam and Xbox, as of a couple of years ago, you can refund those games even if they're bought digitally. So if you check out a game, you're like, oh, I'm so excited for this game, and you pre-ordered it or bought it day one. First of all, don't pre-order. Stop pre-ordering, people. I don't know how else to say it. Unless it's like a sure deal that it's going to be a great game, do not pre-order it. But if you buy it and it comes out and it's bad, you can just refund it for 100% of your money as long as it's within like X amount of time and you haven't played it for like more than, I don't think you can play it for like more than 4 hours or something, which by then you probably have figured out that it's kind of poop. So those refunds will directly tell them, hey, that's not going to work on us anymore because we could just buy it and then send it back.
Right. Yep, and that comes with a decrease of people buying physical copies. But I think that's enough about terrible launches and game developers. I kind of just want to talk about achievement hunting. You think we should get like, because I know PlayStation has like their platinum trophy for 100%ing the game. Xbox kind of just has, hey, you did it, congrats. Do you think there should be something for 100%ing a game?
Well, as you
Or
know,
multiple games?
you and I are both very interested in doing, getting as many achievements as possible. I'm interested to hear what you say about this first, what your takes are.
I think, yeah, I'm a big achievement hunter. I want to get as many achievements in the game, but I know that there are some games and achievements that are outside of my skill, and I know I will not get. So it kind of hurts me to say, but I don't think I'll be able to get all of the Master Chief Collection's achievements. But I think I think there should be something. Like obviously not something huge. Uh, but I have noticed that like Xbox, if it's a Game Pass game, you will get like points to be redeemed in their Game Pass store. So like
Yeah.
if you get like 10,000 points, which I have right now, it's essentially $10 I have. It's like if they kind of made that system a little bit better, I think I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I
Like,
think oh god.
I was just gonna say, just reward us more for putting more time into your game.
No, I absolutely agree with that. And even if it's not a monetary thing, just something to better showcase, which I think is a key word here, to showcase the games you've 100% or the ones you're like the most proud of. And like, 'cause I understand giving out basically free money might be, increasing that rate might be bad for business, obviously. And by might, I mean, I understand that it is. Um, but one thing I kind of had the idea. So like, if anyone out there has ever played a Pokemon game, I feel like most of us have played at least a Pokemon game. Um, you have like your badge case for beating each gym, you get a badge. I kind of think that on our profile it'd be kind of neat if you kind of had like a badge case, and in there for every game you've 100%ed, that game dev could submit like a badge, digital badge thingy that you would be able to place in one of those slots. And when you'd click on your profile, you'd see it like very prominently, like, oh, when I click on, yours, Harmon, it would be like, you've 100%ed Halo 2, the Mass Effect remasters, X, Y, and Z, all these things, Dragon Age Inquisition, whatever it may be. And you'd have like a little, like the game's logo in like a little case. And I think maybe that could be something to kind of help you feel some incentive. Which again, it's all artificial anyway. The idea of achievements is giving you artificial extra value out of a game, but you might as well fully commit to it and give us a way to demonstrate the fact that we have bragging rights that like, oh, you and I have both, completed Elden Ring 100%, that kind of deal.
And I think you made a good point that it doesn't have to be monetary.
Mhm.
Doesn't have to have monetary value. Just show something that we worked hard to go the extra mile and get more achievements.
Right. Because like on 360 at least we had like the avatars were much more prevalent. I mean, there were games that used the avatars. You saw them on the dashboard. And when you played certain games or unlocked certain achievements, you got clothing for them. And like, I thought that was super cool. I mean, like, my 360 avatar is still wearing my Portal 2 hat from back then. And, something like that, even while it's small, made me feel like, wow, I got rewarded for owning this game, doing this thing, playing that level, getting that achievement. And it adds that extra little bit of like, huh, I earned that. So I just think better presenting that with achievements would be a lot.
Right? Because my avatar, I bought the Mass Effect armor back when it was points, not just money, and I want or for doing certain Mass Effect 3 things, I was able to win the helmet and the melee weapon, which is they refer to it as an Omni Blade. So that's been my character for a while, but I know I have like some. I know I have. There were. I think it was Modern Warfare 2. I think I have a Call of Duty helmet. I think I won that.
Yeah, MW2 gave out a helmet, and then MW3 gave out not the Juggernaut suit. They gave out something though. It might have been like an animation for your avatar.
Might have been. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, because stuff like that though, I think does kind of help you have a little bit of an increased value, and it doesn't have to be huge. Like I said, like it doesn't have to be monetary even, but I think the platinums do feel very satisfying for those players because they can look at their profile and go, "Oh, I've platinumed 76 games." That kind of deal. It feels like you've achieved something versus Xbox just kind of when you go on their profile, you go through their, most recently played games and depending on how recently you 100% in a game affects how much someone just browsing your profile will see it and even be like, "Oh, because for all you know, the games you 100% are at the bottom." And then they never even notice that you 100%ed them.
Yep, exactly. It's all like think if I play Mass Effect and someone goes to my profile, obviously they'll see I 100% it. But I haven't played Mass Effect in a good couple months now, so they won't see it that I've done that.
Yeah, when it's based off recents, it's like, oh, well, that's kind of unfortunate. Like, there's no thing to say, like, oh, this guy's 100% counter at the top of his banner or at the top of his player card. And it's like 100% tracker, 72, 135 games, 100%, anything to kind of better reflect that.
Right? Yeah, having that showcase could see, oh hey, they really like this game. As you can see, they 100%ed it. But I will say, I do not enjoy getting achievements for games that Dying Light 2 and specifically walk around for 42 like real life kilometers.
There's some achievements that I think need kind of looked at because some of them are not like determining your skill or your dedication to exploring or anything like that. It's just do a thing. And it's not something that you would naturally ever achieve because our friend who platinum Dying Light 2 said he had to rubber band his remote for like a day and a half or something total after beating the game to get a trophy because you don't ride the bike or whatever it was that much or walk around that much when you can like paraglide and all this other crap in there, which I don't think that really shows you achieved anything other than commitment and a higher energy bill.
Yeah, the games that require me to do way too much work for what it's actually worth. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
Right.
I'm okay with not 100%ing your game.
Yeah, and it's like if it's stuff like if it's like the achievements for Master Chief Collection for like beating the lasso playlists or whatever. To me, that's fine. That's a difficulty. You've achieved something. It's something to work towards. It's not this just in a level of Halo 2 walk 300 miles. And it's like, so I'm just gonna be walking back and forth 20 bajillion times.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what they're telling you with that.
Yeah, I don't really tend to 100% the games with stuff like that in there unless I'm like really like, you know what, I only need two more. I'm gonna get this one done. Like I have to be damn close though.
No, I understand that. And then kind of the last thing I wanted to talk about. I know we don't really play this game anymore, but Destiny 2 is adding like a horde mode that they've called Onslaught.
Yeah, you told me about that right before we started rolling here, and I was genuinely like, oh, I didn't hear about that, and so you're gonna have to kind of enlighten me because you'd be the one who knows more here than me because I have not even seen like a trailer for it.
I don't even know too much for it. I just quite literally saw it on an article that popped up on my social media feed. But for a game that's been out for forever now, you
Mm.
would think adding a new PvE mode wouldn't have taken this long.
True, but you also would think that they wouldn't go back and delete their entire campaign and expansions that were paid for, and then make the game free to play with a seasonal story now. But they did that, so I mean anything's possible. Personally, I would love to see what it actually entails. If it's if you still get like rewarded for it, or if it's just like a kind of for fun thing, just kind of blow off steam, see how far you can get, or see if you can beat wave 20. I don't know if it's an endless survival or a fixed amount, but I mean, it could be cool. I think at this point, maybe they should probably be saving some of their ideas because I would imagine within the next 5 years, we're probably looking at like a Destiny 3 scenario. I mean, like we almost have to be.
What I see that it's coming out April 9th with their DLC expansion planned.
Oh, this is that DLC that got delayed, isn't it? See, I knew that that happened, but I didn't hear like I didn't know what all was in it because I've kind of stepped away from that for a while. So yeah, I had no clue. So without you coming across it on your social media page, neither of us would have known.
Correct.
But yeah, I mean, if it looks fun, I'd consider maybe coming back and checking it out. I mean, I guess if it's behind a paywall, I'm less likely to maybe want to do that unless it's just coming out the same day as paid content and maybe it's free, but I doubt it.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be like a 3-player strike team.
Hmm.
So like your typical 3-player strike missions. So it should not be too different from the content they already have. You just are surviving instead of working towards a goal.
Hmm.
But one of the things I did see that it's going to be nearly impossible to do solo. So judging from that, it sounds like it's not uh like endless. Like
Hmm.
there will be like limitations to it.
So yeah, maybe you are looking at something that's like there's 5 waves. The first four are just increasing difficulty, enemies scaling up, and then the last wave is just a boss showing up from one of the raids or something like that. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a weird time to be like, you know what? That's what we really need right now. That's what's going to get the Destiny 2 base back on us because I've seen some people getting pretty mad at them lately with that delay. That's all I remember seeing some outrage about that on the internet, but that's everything gets outrage on the internet. To an extent, I'm sure we get some outrage on the internet.
I would also assume that.
Well, I hope it's, for the diehard Destiny fans who didn't leave or the ones who left, came back, and are loving it now. I hope it's good content. I never wish bad content on people for the most part. I mean, but I hope it ends up being fun for them. So that's all I can say on that.
Yeah, I hope it kind of like if it looks good and people are saying it's good, I might have to give it a try, but not a moment before.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna need to see some peer-reviewed studies first because I'm not jumping in the deep end. Not after I pre-ordered Destiny 2 and then there was no one there at launch. There was no
And then
one.
it's a free to play game.
Yes. And like I didn't buy the expansions, my friend bought the expansions, but like the fact that those are still gone, I'm like, oh, on your behalf, I'm mad for you.
Right. But I think on that note, I think this is where we're going to leave off on today's episode. So, for those of you on YouTube and Spotify, we appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen to us rant about video games.
Yeah. I can't do it without you guys.
As always, this has been episode 9 of the Split Screen Experience. We're joined with me, your host, alongside
Andrew.
and we'll see you next week.
See you, everybody.